Well, I'm Alan Dale from Gale Force Winds. What a pleasure it is to be here at the Atlantic Canadian Aerospace and Defence Association Maritime Arctic Safety and Security 2025 Conference. A big shout out to our friends at the Ship Stop Here initiative. Those folks understand the importance of bringing all the voices to the table, and all the voices matter. I like meeting these folks one by one. And on that note, sir, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us what you do.
Yeah, sure. I'm Major General Paul Peyton. I am the Military Deputy Director for the North Atlantic Treaty Organization Defense Innovation Accelerator for the North Atlantic. That is a bit of a mouthful, but I am one of two military two-stars. We've got one that's located in London that kind of looks after the European portfolio, and then myself on the North American side.
And so this is NATO Diana. Is that what it is?
This is NATO Diana.
This is NATO Diana. Talk to me about what that program is all about. What is it meant to do?
Yeah, so it's actually a really, really neat, bold initiative by NATO. So the whole idea is to actually engage with the stakeholders, so the national force development communities across the alliance, and the primary stakeholders like Allied Command Operations, Allied Command Transformation, to determine what are the specific gaps that they have or requirements that might be solved by technological solutions. And then we will kind of aggregate that demand, our team at Diana, and then we will push out problem statements to industry. And we're looking for small to medium enterprises, innovators to propose solutions to those challenges that we have. We get a lot of solutions that come back, which is really, really reflective of just how broad the innovation ecosystem is. We get a lot of solutions. We'll down select to the ones that align closest to the problem set that we have, so that they'll be adoptable by the military communities, and those that are technologically feasible and commercially viable. It's dual use solutions that we're after. And those that are selected are offered the invitation to join the program. They'll be given some resourcing in terms of money, and then they'll attend a 6-month accelerator program. We'll work on their technological progress of their solution, as well as their progress as a business. Because some of these innovators are spin-offs from universities, and some of them are just really, really smart folks with some really neat ideas, but they haven't actually migrated into a business yet. So we'll work with them. We'll provide them an end user mentor, so somebody typically from the military community of any of the nations amongst the alliance. They'll have a commercial mentor and a technology mentor, and the whole idea is to take that solution and really accelerate it as fast as we can to get to a prototype, something that we can bring to an exercise or an experiment and show the end user community that, hey, here's a really novel solution to a problem that you've got. Nations will pick up on it, and then it's an opportunity for a win for the innovator because they get access to a market of 32 countries, and a real win for defense because we get access to some of these really, really neat novel solutions. It's a really, really neat construct, and it moves super quick. So the organization is less than 3 years old now. We're about 80 people, main headquarters in London, regional headquarters in the North American office in Halifax, Nova Scotia, and then we've got a regional hub in Tallinn, Estonia. And in 3 years, we've stood up those headquarters, got about 87, 88 staff right now, and we've ran 3 challenges, onboarded 118 companies so far. And some of those companies are doing extremely well, signing very good defense contracts and providing solutions that are absolutely fantastic for the end users, for the warfighters. So it's a really exciting place to work in, and it moves super quick.
Had you come from the innovation space before you arrived?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
The furthest thing from it. Right. So, I'm combat arms by background, Armored Corps officer. I joined the Army out of Goose Bay, Labrador in 1989. I didn't think I'd be in the Army this long, to be quite honest with you, but I really, really enjoyed it. But my focus has more been on the operations side. Had some great experiences overseas. Towards the later part of my career, I ended up commanding the Canadian Forces Intelligence Group, 5th Canadian Division, which is kind of all the Army in Atlantic Canada, and I did a couple of years with U.S. Cyber Command in the States. So I got a bit of a different background, I suppose, towards the later part of my career. But my last job in the Canadian Forces was the Chief Force Development for the Canadian Forces. So that's really where we kind of try and understand what are the characteristics of the future operating environment and what are the types of capabilities that we're going to need to kind of succeed in that environment. So that was a really good setup for me to come into NATO Diana. I didn't realize it at the time, of course, because I understand requirements. I understand how we get the requirements. But the community of innovators, working with the venture capital community, like that was so foreign to me, and it still is. So, you know, it's a great opportunity to learn. I find it super exciting working with the innovators, and you know, a day without learning is a wasted day. And I tell you, I have not had a day where I haven't learned in this one. So
the companies that come in what TRL level are they at? Are they at a 2, 3, or are they more towards a 6?
Yeah, so you know, when we started the program, it was more towards, we were kind of focused, the TRL 4 to 7 is where we were looking. But we actually have some companies. One of the companies in the last challenge program was TRL 2.
Okay.
And that's because, you know, when the application came in, and our technologists, the scientists that are part of the organization, this expert network that we've got from all across the alliance, they look at something and say, hey, there is actually something here that we really should pay attention to and try and nurture. So you know, most of them are between TRL 4 to 6, a few that are TRL 7, and a few that were TRL 7. You know, our goal is to get those ones that come in very quickly through the TRL, so we can kind of get them into the operation space and in the hands of the end user.
It must be amazing for you to watch all this unfold, knowing that we need that tech. I see that tech in front of me. We need that. And to know that we can probably make this happen. For the first time in my career, I can see what I need and actually make it happen. Not only for you, but for the entire NATO.
100%, 100%. And I think this is actually a great example for the nations. I mean, NATO is really, like I say, it's really bold because, you know, NATO doesn't typically move real fast. It's a consensus-based organization. Like that is the way that the alliance works. But they put a lot of faith and effort and energy behind this NATO Diana construct to leverage the best practices across all the alliances. And that's, you know, recognizing that some of the practices that the U.S. had in terms of the contracting available to them, in terms of how they would bring on innovation, and you know, some of the best practices from a lot of our European partners. And we're seeing that we can do it. And in fact, like I say, you know, within the organization right now, there are some companies that are doing absolutely phenomenal, that have CEOs that are 27 years old and signing lucrative contracts, you know, with the Dutch Navy. One of our, like, it is so great to watch, and it's really reassuring, because I think the realization for us now is that we don't have a choice. But we actually have to deliver on capability. We have to deliver on the right capability, and we've got to be open to realizing that there are some really unique solutions out there that those of us in uniform, which have grown up in an environment with largely a shared experience, we don't see the solutions that some of our innovators see. Like, we just don't look at problems the same way. And I've often said that, like, we need a better relationship with industry so that they kind of understand the dynamics of the problems that we're trying to solve, and we get a better understanding of the solution space that we're not looking at. And I think through Diana, you know, it's a great grouping of academia, science, technology, R&D community, end users, the capital community. It's kind of bringing that all together, and we're all kind of focused on, okay, let's deliver on outcomes. Let's get those capabilities in the hands of our warfighters. Yeah, very exciting. Super cool.
You've been at it for a couple of years now, is that right?
Diana?
Yeah.
Or the Army? So we stood up the office on the 1st of October.
1st of October.
Yeah.
Okay.
So not that long in. Not that long in Halifax.
But even still, in that amount of time, a lot of heat and light's being put on NATO. A lot of increase in spending is talked about. How has that changed your approach? And I know Armor Corps officers are pretty level. Things can shake around them. They stay focused on their task. But this is a huge conversation going on now. Has it changed your approach?
I think in terms of Diana, not so much changed our approach as much as it's put more emphasis behind it. So, at the last summit, it's really interesting within NATO. If you kind of look even since January, so the NATO Defense Production Act was signed or that was endorsed in February. We just had the summit. The commercial space strategy was signed, and this thing called the Rapid Adoption Action Plan. So, of course, there was the commitment for the increased defense investment of 5%. But some of these other things are really, really important. And the Rapid Adoption Action Plan, that really aims to accelerate procurement, to de-risk technology. It talks about setting up innovation ranges where we can de-risk technology quicker so people are more confident getting it into the hands of those that need it. And one of the other things it talks about is a front door to industry. So one of the initiatives in the Rapid Adoption Action Plan is to create effectively an operating system where the demand signals from the NATO nations and the NATO entities themselves will be placed, and industry will have an opportunity to look in the door and see, okay, what are those demand signals? And at the same time, like any door, we'll be able to look out and say, hey, here's the kind of multitude of solutions that are available, and then we'll be able to match make the problem that we've got with the potential solution, and then we can go down the path of having the engagements and discussions that we need to make it happen. So I think, like we are in such a unique position in NATO amongst the alliance and within Canada. There is huge opportunity now. Just here at Mass, listening to the conversation, talking to the innovators, seeing the excitement, the capacity, the untapped potential that exists within Atlantic Canada. I think there's some great opportunities for us. Yeah, it's exciting times.
Well, I can see the excitement in your eyes. I know that your buddies are catching bus 95 and going to Ottawa somewhere, and you got the best job.
I have an absolutely fantastic job.
Tell me this: when a company makes it through Diana, they go through, and a country says, "Yeah, I want that tech." Is there a rapid procurement process that follows, or are we then in the country's hands of procurement?
No, there is. So we've got one of the parts that was mandated within the charter was the creation of this thing called the Rapid Adoption Service Regulation. And what that allows is for nations to approach Diana to say, okay, we want a specific solution for this capability. And then we will, through the cohort of companies that we have, we will develop some requirements with the nation that's asking, and then we will push it out amongst a cohort, and then there will be, depending what challenge or thematic area it is, they will come back with their proposals, and we give that back to the nation. The nation says, yes, we're interested, and then we can enter into an R&D or prototype contract without going through a competition for that, because the competition requirements have been satisfied through the Diana process. And then if they want to move on to, say they've developed that or they've nurtured the prototype and say, okay, this is what we want, then there is an opportunity for them to scale and to go into, some sense of production for that solution, again, without having to recompete because it's gone through the competition process.
Similar to the IDEAS program.
It is similar, very similar to the IDEAS program. I think one of the benefits that we have now is that there is actually this acquisition instrument on the other end that we're leveraging. And it's really, really new. So we are just going through.
Everybody's learning.
Yeah, everybody's learning. We're just exercising the muscle now, but there's a ton of interest in it. Yeah. There's a ton of interest in the companies that we're bringing into the program. There's a ton of interest in Canada, like the Canadian applications for the challenges have been huge, like in quantity and quality have been very, very good. So yeah, it's exciting. Like I say, people are interested not just in the products, but they're interested in the process, because this might be a model for other nations to kind of onboard. And once we exercise that muscle a couple of times, then I think everybody sees that it can be exercised, and then we just have a catalog of Diana solutions that we just exercise the Rapid Adoption Service Regulation. Let's get that, and let's get it in the hands of those that need it. Yeah.
First Mass?
First Mass.
What'd you think?
I thought it was fantastic. again, like the quality of folks that are here. Yeah, I had the real privilege and pleasure to be on the first panel with Honorable Peter MacKay and Honorable Seamus O'Regan. Like, just fantastic for me to be the thorn between the two roses there and have a bit of debate on more at the strategic level. Interesting, not a debate, because there is a lot of consensus on the things that we need to do to move forward. And I really liked it because the focus has not been on the past and some of the things that didn't work out the way that we want. It's very much focused on, okay, moving forward, how do we do this? How do we what are the relationships that need to be made? Who do we need to connect with? How do we need to sustain those connections? Like, those are the discussions that are happening. Some fantastic panels, fantastic presentations, and just the representation in the audience is, really, really significant. I remember looking out and I see folks like, Lieutenant General retired Al Meisinger was the commander of the Air Force, just a couple of years ago. Incredibly well respected general. And that is just, one indication of the people that were in the really high quality people, very, very mature, productive discussion. That was fantastic.
And General, I can't thank you enough for your conversation, for your lens, for your in-depth explanation of NATO, Diana. I mean, remarkable things that you're doing over there. And I love your vision, but more than all of that, I love your excitement. It's unbelievable. You can tell from your eyes that this is something that you're in the right place at the right time, and that benefits all of us. Finally, I'll thank you for your service and thank you for your leadership.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Cheers.
It's outstanding.